Someone left a comment saying the Kingdom of Benin was only as sophisticated as an average IQ of 70 would allow. If you want to see the exact comment, I've pinned it below. And if you want the full context, you can check the original video on my channel. That's a strong claim. But let's slow down and actually examine it, because statements like this don't come from evidence. They come from assumptions, often repeated so many times that people begin to accept them as truth. First, let's be clear. There is no credible scientific or historical method for assigning IQ scores to entire civilizations from centuries ago. None. So right from the start, that claim isn't based on science. It's based on belief. Now, let's look at what history actually shows. The Kingdom of Benin was one of the most organized and artistically advanced societies in pre-colonial Africa. Its craftsmen produced what we now call the Benin Bronzes, highly detailed metalworks created using sophisticated casting techniques that impressed even European observers. These were not random creations. They were part of a structured guild system passed down through generations with precision and discipline. Even more telling, many of these artworks were stolen by the British Empire during the Benin Expedition of 1897. Until today, a significant number of these bronzes have not been returned to the Benin people. Instead, they are displayed in museums across Europe, where they generate millions in revenue. That alone tells you something important. You don't loot what has no value. You don't preserve what lacks sophistication. And you certainly don't profit from what you consider inferior. The global demand for these artworks is, in itself, proof of the depth of skill, creativity, and cultural intelligence behind them. Beyond art, Benin was also an urban center. It had massive earthworks, some of the largest ever constructed, forming a network of walls and moats that protected the city and defined its structure. The kingdom operated under a centralized monarchy, with clear systems of governance, hierarchy, and administration. This was not disorder. This was design. Now it is true that Benin, like many African kingdoms, did not industrialize warfare in the same way European powers later did. But sophistication is not measured by war alone. It is measured by what a society builds, how it organizes itself, its values, its beliefs, and what it contributes to human civilization. And in those areas, Benin was undeniably advanced. In fact, when Europeans first encountered Benin, they didn't describe it as primitive. They described it as organized, clean, and well-planned. Some accounts even compared Benin City favorably to cities in Europe at the time. So the question is not whether Benin was sophisticated. The evidence already answers that. The real question is, why do these myths still exist today? Why do people still repeat ideas that ignore documented history? Because when history is incomplete, it creates room for distortion. And when distortion is repeated long enough, it begins to sound like fact. But it isn't. So instead of asking whether the Kingdom of Benin was sophisticated, maybe we should be asking a different question. What else have we been told about African history that simply isn't true? There are many more stories like this that most people have never heard. And if you've seen the comment I pinned, what do you think about it?